Hello, Namaste, Sasrikal. Good evening. Welcome to the S.S.Chandhok talk show. I'm your host and moderator, S.S.Chandhok. Another lovely evening today with very interesting and knowledgeable people over here from different parts of the country to discuss on a very special and important topic, which had been a chronic problem and is a chronic problem till now for the schools and for the children especially. We are talking about mathematics today, and our topic today is why do students dislike maths? And we are talking just as because when they come into, especially during middle school, they start having fear of mathematics. What are the reasons behind it and how we can remove that? This is what we are going to discuss today. Without taking any time, I'll introduce you the very special and eminent guest present today over here. And one of my favorite ma'am also, and that is Alka ma'am, Alka Singh ma'am. She is the principal of Blue Bells Model School, Gurugram, a very prestigious institution in Gurugram. No need to tell much about the school and about ma'am also. But still, ma'am, the people who will be seeing this episode and who are over here also will like to know about your educational journey.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm Alka Singh, Principal Bluebells Model School. And when I talk about my educational journey, I started from St. Michael's Academy, Chennai. And from there till Bluebells, it's been almost 32 years. And for me, what is important is I give the best to my students and keep visualizing, what they need in future. Like today, if a child is in grade 8, so I should be aware as well as I should be working and I should be reading about what he needs once he reaches the basically the employment market. So that's what is my journey. And thank you so much, sir, for giving this opportunity to be there on the session. Thank you.
Pleasure is mine, ma'am. It's always a wonderful experience you having on the show. A lot of experience you have. And so many, we have spent it in so many schools and you have a great experience. Thank you so much once again, ma'am, for coming up to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Next eminent guest present over here is Shefali Charan, ma'am. She is the principal of another very prestigious institution in Jaipur, that is Asian World School. First of all, Shefali, ma'am, thank you so much for joining us once again. After
my pleasure entirely.
after a long time here also. It's a pleasure having you on the show, ma'am. Although I know about you, ma'am, but still we like to know, did you came into this profession by chance or by choice, and from a teacher to a principal?
I am one of the very few who came into this profession by choice. So I always wanted to be a teacher, and my grandfather was a teacher, so he was my role model, and I have been a teacher, and I will always be a teacher, I guess, primarily. I had my own institution in Kota, then moved to Delhi. I was working with New Era group of institutions for a very long time. And then when I came to Jaipur, I am now the founder principal of the school where I'm working right now. I think education is one of the most, it is one of the most exciting fields to be in, because you can choose what you want to be at any point of time. So if you want to be a musician one day, a teacher can be a musician one day. If you want to be a playwright one day. So this is one platform which gives you the ability to test any other platform, any other profession. And also, more importantly, you can make difference to the world. And also, I very strongly feel that we affect posterity. So we don't know when we are sitting in a classroom, whom are we teaching? He can be a future astronaut, a future prime minister, a future layman who can make a lot of difference. So I think we affect posterity, and that makes this job very scary and very eventful at the same time.
That's wonderful, ma'am. Great experience and a great knowledge you have, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again for coming up to the show. Next, we have Dr. Monica D'Souza, ma'am. She is a principal of a very good prestigious institution in Tenkasi, Tamil Nadu, that is Ekasi Vidya Ashram. Welcome, ma'am, to the show once again. Again, after a long time, also you have come up to the show. I think more than 8 months or 9 months after that you have come now. It's a pleasure having you on the show. First of all, thank you so much for coming, ma'am. Ma'am, we will like to know something about you and your school also, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. Am I audible, sir? I had a little disturbance here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
it's audible. You're audible.
So, I'm here. I was in Haryana. I'm in Tenkasi here. I'm also from southern part of India. So, coming back home once again. I'm also the city coordinator of CBSE schools, 52, 54 schools here in Delhi and Tenkasi districts. So, it has been a great journey for me. Being at a very young age as a teacher and principal for now 9 years. Altogether 19 years, among them 9 years as the principal of different schools. Here also it is very good experience for me. I love teaching and I dedicated myself wholeheartedly. And mathematics was one of the subjects that I taught, though I'm a physicist. So it was not my choice, but it was on me because I was teaching always. I love teaching and took children as my own children and taught them. So this made me, I think so, by God's blessing and my children's blessing, my family support and friends support. I'm here today what I am. So God has blessed me immensely. I mean, I have given less to the society maybe, but I've got much more. So a lot of good name in this area. Wherever I went, I had very good experience, pleasant experience. I owe my, I feel privileged to be a teacher and to be part of educational institutions and services to the society through the institution.
And ma'am, Tenkasi, I mean, you are saying that there are 53, 54 schools. And today I've revealed that you are a city coordinator there also of Tenkasi. So is that area very big? We don't know much about, frankly speaking, we don't know much about Tamil Nadu. That is why we are trying to approach toward that side also. And we should know, far off India, we should reach to every place. So is that a beautiful place, a big city and with so many schools, CBSE schools?
Not so many schools, as I told you, these are two big districts, but we have only 54 schools. We do not have many CBSE schools. We have like IG schools, of course, ICSE schools. And, the matriculation schools are also quite good here. As you know, Tamil Nadu provides good education facilities.
Right.
So there's no much craze as such, but since I worked in central board schools, I'm here. And it is close to another part of Tamil Nadu, like I'm close to Kanyakumari. Kanyakumari, then that district, we call it as Nagarkoil, then comes Tirunelveli, then Tenkasi. Tenkasi is a very beautiful place. It is the foothills of Western Ghats. The other side is Trivandrum, Kerala. Yeah, this side is Nagarkoil and Tirunelveli, Tenkasi. Just 20 kilometers from Kerala border.
That's wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. All the best to you also, because you have to look after so many schools also. Thank you so much, ma'am. Next, we have Rajiv Kumar Shukla, sir. Sir, first of all, congratulations for joining MR Jaipuria, because last when we met and we were talking about coming up to the show, you were in some other school and some other place, first of all, and it was wonderful meeting you in Lucknow head office, knowing you personally, sir. Sir is a principal of State MR Jaipuria, sir. Which branch, sir?
Nearby
Sorry?
Gorakhpur. Badarona, it is nearby Gorakhpur.
Okay, very good. Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much, sir, first of all, coming up to the show. And I have seen your profile also that you have a wonderful and a vast experience in the field of education. And sir is a mathematics teacher. So one more, expert we'll have today to talk about mathematics. Maybe some of you might have been having phobia of mathematics during your school time also. Today, we would like to understand that. Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir. Sir, please let us know about yourself, sir.
So myself, Rajiv Kumar Shukla, 20 years approx I have been PhD mathematics. After that, I changed my profile for principal last 12 years. But it is a great journey from teacher to principal. Everybody is saying about the teacher. by choice, by force. But just I want to tell you, I am born teacher. My father was a teacher. I am greatly inspired by him. Whatever the social structure was there in India, 50, 60 years before, you can say, teachers were the most respected person in the society. So he was the ideal of mine. Whenever I was in early childhood, I admire him. I want to be like him. Then I decided, whenever I grew up, I decided to be a teacher. So you can say I am teacher by choice. I am teacher, born teacher, you can say. Yeah, every person grows in life. Exactly, I am not the same person who joined as a PhD mathematics 32 years before. It is a great journey. Everybody grows in the journey. By the last so many times you are trying to make me on this platform. I'm highly grateful to you, sir. Yes, you have called me and I'm here. That's all, sir.
Pleasure is mine, sir. Sir, pleasure is mine. I do always have the song with me. Tera picha na main chodunga. Jab tak aap aayenge nahi, till then I will keep on calling. See, it is a platform where we try to call up the best educationalists of India to talk about the different topics related to, because already we have different platforms to talk about NEP and NCF. So there should be a platform which should talk directly for the students' benefit about the subjects. So
Sure,
one, maths was a big problem earlier also, at our times also, until now it also is a big problem. Everybody doesn't has a principal like you or a admin like you who can take care of mathematics in the school. So how to remove this, we are going to talk later. Thank you so much, sir, and welcome, sir. Next, we have the expert of today, Nilman Shah, sir. He is the co-founder of Counting Well, a maths learning app for middle schoolers. Their goal is to make maths learning easy, anxiety-free, and participative for children across the country. Their focus is to help the so-called average students to become more confident with maths and develop great problem-solving skills. They step in where school teachers are not able to provide personalized attention due to lack of time and bandwidth. He is also a designer maker career person and has made life lessons for the age group of 10 to 14 built around mathematics. Their funda is that kids must know that maths matter and it will matter throughout their life. The best way to do that is to show them how. So this is about Nilma Shah, sir. First of all, sir, thank you so much for coming once again. You are bearing us from last so many episodes, but you know it very well that there's a big problem which is happening. Teachers are also worried that we have 40 minutes period, 40 class students, and we have so many topics to teach. How can we give so much time to the students to make their maths more perfect? So your guidance has always been very fruitful for all of us for the panel discussion. So please, first of all, we'll again like to know, people will like to know that how did it came up to in your mind to start up an app that is related to mathematics especially? Over to you, sir.
Thank you for inviting me again, sir. It's always been a great learning experience. And I'm sure that today will be even more interesting, given that we have two math teachers here. So I'm really looking forward to it. About my journey and why we started Counting Well, I think it started very unconsciously with my own maths anxiety. When I was in school, at one time, I moved from the state board to a CBSE school when I moved from 6th to 7th grade. And the whole subject it was like I was learning an entirely new subject. I wasn't learning maths at all, or at least what I'd learned earlier didn't seem to be maths at all. And it took me quite some time to get adjusted to that. And during that first year, during the first term exam, I failed. I failed miserably, scored very bad marks. And my teacher encouraged me a lot. In fact, she would call me and some of other children home to study. And that was not the time when she would take tuitions. She would just call us home and say, come and study. So we used to do that. And that brought me to a stage where I felt very confident with math. Go forward about another 20, 25 years. And, I was in a role where I was managing an IT consulting company. And I used to hire a lot of people from IITs. And as part of that whole hiring process, one of the things that we used to do was that we would also interview them on some very basic skills, right? Logical skills, analytical skills, basic mathematical skills. And what I found is that while a lot of them were very good, if you ask them a specific formula or, to explain a specific theorem and things like that, when it comes to uh, talking about very, fundamental math or foundational mathematics, they were lacking. And not only were they lacking, when we started asking them those kind of questions, they would actually start showing that whole maths anxiety. And I was surprised because, given that you are in an IIT, you should not even be anxious about it, right? Engineering means that there is a lot of maths that you're doing anyway. So what was the whole reason behind that? But, anyway, that was that. And then as we move further, at one point of time, my co-founder, who's my friend for many, many years, we were talking about what we can do in the education space. That is something that I have been very passionate about. It was my first job was in education. So, we said, why don't we attack this whole problem around mathematics? Because that is where it seems like there is a big gap. While we keep talking about how India is, a place where so many great mathematicians were born and this and that, what we really see is that when you ask a child about math, 80% of them or even more of that actually fear math as a subject. So that is something that we really need to attack. We need to help children overcome that. So that's how that whole journey started. We decided that we want to build on something around this. I saw my own son go through this whole maths anxiety cycle. So it was kind of, repetition of what I went through. So it was, like you said, Chandok sir, it's something which has been coming from generations, right? My generation to my next generation. I see the next set of children also, and all of them go through this. So, we cannot simply say that India is a land of great mathematicians. We had, Bhaskar Acharya and Aryabhatta and this and that so many years ago. That was centuries ago. What we are talking about now, we cannot just keep hanging on to that thread and say that India is a country of great mathematicians. You can find one Srinivas Ramanujan, one, S.N. Bose, but really the kids have to overcome this whole anxiety around math, right? It's something which is day to day, and we cannot be just saying that I don't want to do maths. So that's what we wanted to help children overcome, and that's why we built Counting Well.
That's wonderful. Great ideas. A lot of things we'll talk about further. And it's all about the 3 to 4 students, the topper of the class. The rest, they are sitting idle and they're just saying, yes, sir. Is it clear? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Because it won't go into the head. The phobia has increased. कि मुझको maths नहीं समझने वाली आने वाली. So that is the main problem which has to be removed out of the mind of the children. That is more important. And a lot of experience you have gained, sir, during that, because a lot of things you have talked earlier also about the ITs you had been, interviewing, and they had been very good at mathematics. But you told us earlier also that when you talk about logical mathematics, they were zero. Because आपको formula रटना है, and what is the use of it, and why are you applying it, that is not being taught to the students for all. So that is also a big problem which has to be solved for the children. So thank you so much, Nirbal sir. We'll have a lot of knowledge from you in the further part of the session. And we have Priyanka ma'am wasn't able to join earlier due to some network issues or whatever it was. So we have Dr. Priyanka Shukla ma'am also. She is from a great institution, Arvind Academy from Lucknow. Welcome, Priyanka ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome, ma'am, to the show for the very first time. And because I also don't know much about you, we were talking about the principles, the journey as an educationist. Please let us know something about yourself, ma'am, from a teacher to a principal.
Yes, sir. Sir, my name is Dr. Priyanka, and 14 years back, I started my journey as an educator. I had started my journey from Gorakhpur University. I was teaching their philosophy to undergraduate and graduate classes. Yes, sir. I did my MA in 2000. Recently, I cleared my NET JRF, and I did my PhD in philosophy. And I was teaching there for 6 to 7 years. After marriage, because of some issues, I have to settle here in Lucknow. And then 2-3 years of lacking this journey, I again started my career in this inter college. And in 2018, you won't believe that I did my B.Ed also, because it's a mandatory degree for principalship. And I love educating child. I love doing many kind of, doing things with the students to such innovative things with the students. This is it, sir, from my side.
So, ma'am, how was your experience coming from college level to the school level? And that too, what I can see is that you didn't have much time to teach in the schools directly. You became the principal over here, I think so.
After 2-3 years, I started in inter college as an inspection cell in charge from Vardhan. Then I had appointed as a coordinator for 6 to 8, and after 2-3 months, they offered me to work as a coordinator for 9 to 12, and then again as a vice principal there. And 1 to 2 years I have appointed there as a principal. So it's quite different from college to school level, because in college you go to the lecture theater and just deliver your lecture. Whatever the queries they have, you just sort it down. But in a school, it's quite different. And nowadays, so it's a full-time process for a principal.
Yes, ma'am. We are selling. All of us are selling in the same boat, ma'am. Coming back from the school after doing the practicals and all, again we are sitting over here talking about a topic. So 24/7 duty we have. We are given the
24/7, sir. 24/7.
24/7 we have to do, and
Yes,
we are the different type of watchmen of the school known as principals. Khush karne ke liye, just like. So this is what we have in our hands, but we are doing it beautifully. All of us are doing beautifully, and especially during the pandemic.
I love this profession. I love teaching.
Ma'am, all of us love, ma'am. We are into love when we see the small kids. What has happened now, so many small kids from pre-primary, first and second class, while going back to the school, they come in my office. That beautiful small little girls, they come and hug me. मैंने कहा यार दाढ़ी वाले सरदार जी के पास आके यार आप प्यार कर रहे हो, इसका मतलब ये है कि I'm giving lot of love and affection to my kids. They're coming, and I was in Mumbai for 4-5 days. 2-3 of them they came. Sir, I came into your room. You were not there for 4-5 days. I was so upset. I was so happy you become. You see, this is the earning which you get from the kids.
Yes.
And the way she was about to cry, these two kids were about to cry. So this is the, the thing which you earn. This is the main earning or the best earning which you get from your working. And we always are between the age group of 3 to 18. We will never go above the age of 18. The government may say after 60 and kick us out. Management may kick us out. But we'll always remain until 18 because we are into that age group. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming up to the show. Coming up to the next part of the show, we'll come up to the discussion. And the first discussion question will be for Alka ma'am. Alka ma'am, you have such a lot of experience, wide experience. You might have seen that from grade 1 to 5, children, they enjoy a lot with mathematics. But gradually, when they come up to the middle school, especially class 6, 7th, 8th, they start running away from mathematics. So according to you, what are the reasons behind it?
It's absolutely true what you're saying. And I think as principals, all of us, we experience this. I can say, like, when we say the base of a building decides the fate of a building. So mathematics actually is a subject which requires a very strong base. It cannot be like suddenly I start studying mathematics from grade 6 onwards. It is the base which has to be strong. And when the students are studying in the primary wing, they have a lot of interest in studies. They love maths. And believe me, this is the time when the foundation has to be very, very strong. And if this foundation in the primary wing is strong, they'll surely excel in the middle wing also. But what happens at times, because you do not have the formal examination till grade 5 also, so they're not that strong with mathematics. I feel that way at times. Not all of them, but some of them, they miss out. And once they reach the middle wing, they start avoiding that subject because the base is not that strong. So when they are in middle school, the difficulty level as it is, it goes up. And because of the weak base, so they start disliking the subject. There's one more reason, the connectivity with the real world. There are certain topics, as you see in the middle wing, two mathematicians are there, they would also agree. The connectivity to the real life is not that much. So that also disinterests the student. one most important thing is the lack of the written practice. For the students have to practice a lot. And in the primary wing, the amount of practice what they need to do is not that much. But out here, obviously, as the level goes up, they have to practice a lot. When they start losing marks, the morale goes down, and that leads to disinterest in the subject. And one more thing I would say is the lack of problem-solving approach also is there, because mathematics is all about, that approach of problem-solving. So students do miss out on that also. And one more thing, what I feel is still primary, you say, abhi to chote hai, they're little ones. And as they come to the middle wing, the focus on science, mathematics, it increases. And it is not from the students nor from the school, it is from the parents. I feel more the pressure, the more is the dislike. So that's also one of the reasons why the mental pressure on the students of mathematics increases. So they start moving out. Last I would say is that, you love a subject because you love the teacher also. So that's also one aspect where in the middle wing, what I've observed, the classes where the students have a beautiful connect with the teacher. So they're brilliant with the mathematics and the other way around. So
absolutely right, ma'am. Absolutely right, ma'am. And one teacher can make a difference. And one thing more, ma'am, I believe is that the children till grade 5, they don't know what is right and what is wrong. They become conscious when they come into the middle school. Okay, if I'll be wrong, the teacher. The most important part of the play is of the teacher, I think, that immediately will say, no, you are wrong. So there the child will never ask, and the 4 or 5 who are ready to ask also the question in the class, they will also stop asking. And that gradually becomes, a phobia of the students to do that. Absolutely right, ma'am. Thank you so much, Alka, ma'am. We'll come up to Shefali, ma'am. Shefali, ma'am, we will also like to know your views on the same saying, where the children dislike mathematics, especially when they come into the middle school.
I would agree with Alka ma'am completely, that if you look at the building, there's something wrong with the building, then we need to understand that there's something wrong with the basic foundation, the structure, the roots. Now, when we come to maths, it is very, very important that we understand that it is not the middle school that's making so much of a difference. It's the elementary and the primary which is doing all the harm. See, maths, as we all understand, it's a very abstract subject. So until and unless we turn it into something concrete, until and unless we attach the students, engage the students physically into math, it is very difficult for a child, for a 3-year-old or for a year-old to understand what a number 1 stands for also. So until and unless the child doesn't understand the oneness of 1, the two-ness of 2, it is very difficult to build the foundation. So we have to, as teachers, be very, very proactive, and especially teachers who are doing maths at elementary level, that we work with concrete objects. We build that relationship between abstract and concrete. Then as we grow, say primary, I have seen this, that we become very process oriented. Rather than the concept, we focus on process. So rather than, giving a problem to the child and letting him explore what to do, we tend to give him steps how to multiply. Put a X here, put a 0 here, and multiply this. We start teaching him the steps. We start focusing on the process. So the quality of math, when taught like that, would never reach the child. It would be, one step after step, something that he has to mark. Whereas when we talk about numbers, it is something to play with, to understand, to enjoy. Maths is not numbers. It's not just geometry. It's patterns. Looking at patterns in numbers, looking at equations, looking at balances. So when we take math as that, that's when we start, doing the real work. Also, I have seen that, because the subject is slightly vast, the teachers rush. And we focus on answers. We don't, the teachers also, they sometimes feel that they are answer kings. Their job is to give answers to the children. And we focus so much on the answers and how to get to the answers, that thinking, that curiosity, going wrong and making a mistake and analyzing why a mistake is being done is often forgotten. So I think all this contributes together. And then when they reach to the middle school, and maths is something which is based on scaffolding. So when your base is not clear, that scaffolding will never happen. And that's when I see that the children start getting scared of maths, you know. And also another thing is that when we do maths specifically, we have to understand that we need to engage the children. Children will get engaged only when they understand what relevance things have to their daily life and when there is a story or emotion attached to it. So when we are teaching maths, we teach it like a very raw, dry subject. Whereas I feel maths is a very interesting subject. It is a language in itself. You know, Galileo somewhere said that if you want to understand, the nature is written in the language of math. So we, you know, encourage our children to decipher that language, to make that kind of connections, to be able to play with numbers, to understand that it's okay to go wrong, but we need to understand what is the wrong in our thinking. You know, there was a time when there was no square root of a -1, but then the scientists are still working on it. So there's nothing absolute. We have to accept the rules. So once we keep all this in mind, I think life will be a little better for middle schoolers. And elementary plays a very important role because it's where the children go wrong. The teachers go wrong, I'm sorry. The teachers go wrong. And then the children are never able to, you know, kind of build those connections.
Right, absolutely right, ma'am. Teacher, the role of the teacher is very important. Although for every subject it is very important, but for mathematics it is very important because it's a very crucial subject, very interesting subject with a very vast, you know, it is not only confined to the books. You can give any question from anywhere, but in books you have the same chapters and the same questions. So that role of the teacher should be very good. But ma'am, I think that the teachers, the way they have been taught during their time, 20, 30 years or 40 years back, the same way they are teaching till now. This thing has to change, if I'm not wrong.
That is our biggest problem. Because the education of teachers is very compromised in India.
Right. Because this is very important.
That causes a lot of problem because the teachers are... Yes,
ma'am, it is very important. It is very important because we have to teach the students for the future. Around 2.5 months back, I was in Delhi only. I was being called by one of the college over there, Motilal Nehru College, to have a workshop for the students. And one of the students said, I got in the competition 99 percentile. I went to Germany and I was being rejected from there because I was not having basic knowledge of AI. So see, what the thing is that we are teaching for today. We are not teaching, I mean, I'm not saying everyone is doing that, but still we have to change ourselves according to the scenario. If we not change ourselves, we keep the same things. No, technology is wrong, and we cannot do like this. वो ठीक था, paper pen वाला system ठीक था, but we have to change. You will see that after around 5 to 7 years, there will be no physical books. We will come up to the e-books. So a lot of changes are needed when you are coming up for the education of children, because we have to teach them for the future, not for today. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Monica, ma'am. Monica, ma'am, we will also like to know from you that, in your opinion, why do middle school children lose interest in mathematics? Monica, ma'am. Ma'am, you're on mute, ma'am. Ma'am, you're on mute, Monica, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. Fine, ma'am.
I feel middle school students lose interest in mathematics due to because the child is passing from primary to middle school. I think, as ma'am explained in the beginning, the students are in a playful manner.
Ma'am, I'd like to ask one question first. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yeah, yes.
Did you had phobia in mathematics during your school time or not?
But sir.
Sorry?
Because I had a very, I didn't have much, I mean, society, yes, they used to tell me, but internally I loved mathematics.
Right.
That
Because
was
I had been
intense.
calling the principals for the maths. So they said we'll love to come to the show, but mathematics, no, Baba, no. It is, I had always had a phobia till now. I'm having a phobia of mathematics. But some of them, they said that we want to come up to the show and we want to understand the pros and cons and everything about mathematics, how we can improve that in our schools for our children now. So over to you, ma'am. Ma'am, again, ma'am. Reasons. Yeah.
That's what when a child passes from primary, for example, we will teach very basics of mathematics. When they come to middle school and higher secondary school, I think the passing of from one to another section becomes a little tedious for the child. The subject becomes a little deeper. If the teacher is not teaching properly, the child will lose interest. Maybe a feeling of tension, apprehension, or fear that interest interferes with math performance. Individual student with lack of interest doesn't necessarily lack ability in mathematics. Rather, he or she perform to her potential. I mean, it's very important. The teacher makes that subject very interesting. Another reason what I find is loss of interest is not from personal experience, but from parents and teachers and the surrounding. When parents with high math anxiety try to help their children with their homework, they unintentionally convey the idea that math is difficult and anxiety provoking. Uh, as a result of learning from teachers who themselves good math teachers, such teachers usually fall back to teaching from the textbook, relying on memorizing facts and employing only drill and practice to reinforce the lesson. And also maybe another reason, the presence of examinations and tests and the risk of public embarrassment are the main sources of unproductive tension among many students, I feel. There, I think the three practices, like we have a lot of imposed authority by the teachers, by the parents, the way of teaching, and the time deadlines, because the child is not able to finish that learning within the stipulated time. And math is typically taught as a right and wrong subject. That is another problem here. Teachers expect a fixed answer from the students, and sometimes this rigidity is so high that students have no freedom to express in their own way. This leads to the rote method of learning, which has been proven outdated as by the psychologists also and by our own experience. The students may have less aptitude. That is another problem towards mathematics. There are many people who achieve success in life without mastering mathematics. So it is quite baseless to be very much crazy about math scoring by the parents or the teachers or the surrounding. So that is my opinion.
So, ma'am, it is being said that, I'm sorry, Rajiv sir, one sentence I'm going to say, please don't feel bad about math teacher. Okay, you can identify the math teacher easily in a school. जिनका चेहरा लटका होगा, मुंह उतरा हुआ होगा, और यहाँ पे tension होगी, that would be the math teacher. So this is being said about the math teacher. But we have great teachers like Rajiv sir also, who make
But
it very
I'm
interesting.
I'm not agree with you, sir. I'm
Sir,
not agree with
exceptions
you.
are always, sir, exceptions are always there, sir. That is why I took an excuse.
After completing 32 years in the field of education, still I am alive to teach in the class. I like it.
बेटा मैथ कर ले वरना कब्बर आ जाएगा. See, actually the problem is that parents also, they put a lot of pressure on the students. बेटा मैथ कर लो, because at their time they had the phobia of mathematics, and they all, यार पापा मम्मा इतना मैथ्स बोल रहे, something might be there. So that, keeps into mind. They don't try to keep the thing normal, and that also creates a lot of mental pressure on the students to do mathematics. So sir, maths problem too we have to solve for sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Priyanka ma'am now. Priyanka ma'am, we will also like to know that any reason left why students, lose interest in mathematics?
Yes, sir. We often hear that, oh, I hate mathematics. But actually, there are many reasons behind it, which I found, as already Shifali ma'am and Alka ma'am has said, the foundation should be always strong. While they are coming from primary to middle, the difficulty level suddenly, goes up. And if the foundation is not as strong, so definitely there will be some problems. So difficulty level sudden goes up. So it is the duty of the teacher, responsibility of the teacher to make the student understand that maths always requires making a lot of mistakes. Okay. Some type of making mistakes, we should many times you can repeat the mistakes and again, but don't feel bad. It's a first attempt in learning. Fail for me, first attempt in learning. Don't feel bad. It's a part and parcel of this subject, but keep on practicing, and it is always a maths teacher is responsible to make mathematics more related to life situations. It should not be abstract way. It should not be in abstract way. Just get into the class and ask the children in many ways and make them understand in many ways. So first thing is that. Then another thing is the traditional teaching method. We should be more playful, funful method we should use in the classrooms while teaching mathematics. And one more thing is it is the problem with mathematics to earn marks. Take, if you write the sums in your sum is right, you will get the marks. Otherwise, you will not get the marks. So most in my school, I have seen this, like बच्चों से मैंने पूछा कि you are not taking maths. Why? So they said कि ma'am, it need more practice and we will not get the marks if we are not doing the right sum. So मैंने कहा no, you just take it. So in other subjects, like we get the marks in many ways. Whatever, if a student is average, he is writing something like this and this, so definitely he or she will get 1, 2, 3, 4 marks. But in mathematics, it is first thing, stepwise marking is there. Then if it is wrong, it is wrong. If it is right, so you will get the whole marks. That is the thing behind that. It should be more creative and make it in a real sense. Then we have to focus, teachers should focus more on understanding. Learning is very easy process. Learning is always easy, and it's a human nature. We always run behind the easy things. So just make them understand in what way you can make it more creative learning, and some additional interventions has to be done by the teacher. Because I remember when I was in class 5 now, I didn't like mathematics. And Motilal sir, my father, he was a vice principal there. So he asked Motilal sir just to come and teach my daughter. So he taught me in a very different way. He taught me, do it, practice makes you perfect. So it should be in their mind. It should be the child mind. While we are taking maths, we have to do more and more practice, and it is not bad. So in that way, we can memorizing equations, memorizing formulas. That is also sometimes.
So in short, teachers have to make it very interesting. Otherwise, the students won't be able to take that. And ma'am, everybody didn't had their parents as an educationist, because your father was vice principal. So he knew the pros and cons of mathematics and everything, and you got a good teacher. But still, there should be something which should help the teachers as well as the students.
While I am trying to speak that, I am focusing on that. A teacher should make it more interesting.
Right.
Or
yes.
It is. Yes. Sir.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. A very interesting topic, but we are in shortage of time. So Rajiv sir, will come up to you now. Sir, now we like to know about the positive side, that how can we make mathematics more interesting for the students?
Actually, first of all, we have to understand the framework of mathematics. Mathematics is a very different subject. It can't be compared with other ones. In the language, in the science subjects, in the social, you have to memorize the content and reproduce in the examination hall, and you will get good marks. But in mathematics, it will not happen. In mathematics, it demands application of brain. That's the main difference between the maths and other subjects. So first, we have to keep in our mind how we have to deal with the students, what we are teaching them, in what way we are teaching them. Usually, whatever I see, teachers are teaching in the very old ways. Old methods are there. They are not trying new innovation in the mathematics. A lot of has been changed in the last 30 years. From the blackboard, we have come to the smart boards, but teachers have not changed because the B.Ed colleges, lesson plans, whatever the methods are there, pedagogy is there, that has not changed. But if a teacher is a good teacher in itself, he can make the subject very interested. A teacher should use the always alternative methods are there, but we never go for that. Just take an example. Suppose it is a class 2, 3 elementary maths is there. Teacher is teaching table. By the last so many years, we are teaching 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 4. But no teachers tries for the another method. I was just, as a principal, I was walking through the class and my teacher were teaching in that way. 2 into 1, that is 2, 2 into 2, that is 4. And just write the table and learn it. I asked the teacher, have you ever tried the another method? No, sir. We are teaching in that way. For the last so many years, I teach in that way. This is my method. This is the only method. These are the answers we get in the classroom. Then simply I call the teacher, just you write the numbers 1 to 20 on the board. She has written. Simply I told her, now just you leave one number, 2, leave 3, circle 4, circle leave 1, circle 6, leave 1, like that. If it is a table of 2, just you leave one number, alternate second number, you just round up, make a circle on that. And now the table of 2 is prepared. The students enjoyed much. Sir, it is very easy. We can do it at home. We easily can do. Simply write the table up to number up to 30, 1 to 30. Circle the every third number. Now the table 3 is ready. So in that way, unless and until teachers are not thinking out of the box, you make the teaching boring in that. If you talk about myself, particularly, so many panelists are talking about that, they have a phobia of mathematics. Actually, I was lucky enough, I have never any phobia of mathematics. I was very good in mathematics. And as the mathematics paper, I was very pleased in the early evening because nothing is to be remembered. Kuch yaad nahi karna hai. I was so happy when the next day mathematics exam is there. The evening before that exam, that was quite happy for me. That was the best evening I have in my life. Always I remember 3, 4, 5 classes, and just the point was that nothing I have to remember today. I'm going to play. And next day, 20 out of 20. So that 20 out of 20 makes interest in me for the mathematics. That pushed me to be a math teacher in that way. So simple, unless and until, so I'm not praising myself, simply I'm telling you, but my students are waiting for me. Rajesh sir ka period hai. Sir aane wale hai. So that is the way the students are waiting for me in my class. I always use my class understandable. Just actually mathematics classes, students are the combustible material, you can say. The teacher just have to throw a spark on them. They are so active, they can easily learn. My sorrow is that for the mathematics teaching, mere dukh bhi bahut hai. I have so many griefs in my mind. Today, just I was in class 2-3 days before. I asked a class 9th student, what is the actual mathematics is that? मैंने उससे पूछा, you go for to buy the vegetable for home? Yes sir, I go. मैंने कहा गोभी मिलती है, वेजिटेबल कितने रुपए किलो? सर 20 रुपए किलो. मैंने गोभी उठाई, उसने तराजू में रख दी, कितनी है? इट इज 650 ग्राम्स. कितना हुआ? 15 रुपीज. आप आराम से देखिए, चले आते उसको. Yes, you give 15 rupees to him and he make you fool about that. He's a layman. He has never seen the face of a school and just he's making you fool. Every day you buy 4-5 vegetables. So just unless and until a student is not going to learn that is 20 rupees kg, 100 gram will be for 2 rupees, 50 gram will be for this much, 1 rupee. It is 13 rupees case. If it is 650 gram, 20 rupees kg, it should be 13 rupees. He's making you fool for the 2 rupees. And just you are going to buy 6-7 vegetables for that. तो आपको वो क्या करता है? 10 से 15 रुपए का ऐसे ही चूना लगा देता है. वो आदमी जिसने स्कूल नहीं देखा, एक पढ़े लिखे बच्चे को, एक पढ़े लिखे आदमी को बेवकूफ बना रहा है डेली, एंड दिस इज हैपनिंग डेली इन द मार्केट, आई एम टेलिंग यू. So that is the real mathematics. We want to talk about that. If a student is getting knowledge for the actual mathematics, then only he can survive. Mathematics is not a
right.
phobia. It is just a lack of good teachers in the society. I am highly insisting on that. A teacher is
Right, sir.
teaching. Suppose I was teaching in there. When a student asks about me, whenever I having a teacher is 40 minutes we have in the classroom. As a teacher, 40 minutes we have in the classroom. Hardly a smart teacher teaches only 20 to 25 minutes. After that, the students have to just note down the subject and teacher has to talk, either has to walk in the classroom. At that time, we are having so many
course.
talks with the students just to ignite their minds. In
Sir,
one
I
way they
remember whatever you were saying, I remember because I was a commerce teacher, accounts teacher. So because in grade 11, they take commerce and accounts is a very new subject for them. I've never done math. So they had been doing since grade 1 or PG, from PG onwards. So the first question of all the students were always that, sir, is accountancy difficult? So I used to say that, but this is the easiest subject on earth and you are going to enjoy it. Sir, is it mathematics? No, it's not. It is not mathematics. You're going to enjoy that. It's just like when you're going to an hospital, somebody is going to hospital and the doctor says that it is nothing. Thoda sa ye sab theek ho jayega. So there 80% you're relieved of that. Maths kar lo, ab kara raha hu maths ke andar 9th, 10th, you're talking about 9th, 10th. The teachers say maths is going to be a very big thing for you. It's not your cup of tea. तुम लोग कर नहीं पाओगे. कोशिश कर लो, मेहनत कर लो, नहीं हो पाएगा तुमसे. So these type of sentences which are given by the teachers in the class, by the parents also pressurizing onto the students, they start thinking that there is something in mathematics. And this problem is going to be solved by our Santa Claus of today, that is counting well. And Nirmal Shah sir will let us know. Sir, first of all, thank you, sir, Rajiv sir, for your opinions. Thank you so much. Nirmal sir, you have heard all the eminent guests about mathematics, whatever knowledge they had, including me. So your expert views on whatever everybody said, and how does these type of, because so many people are coming to our schools, they are sending the visiting card inside the offices and we are saying them that, okay, we'll not be able to meet. What is right and what is wrong? How it is helping the teachers as well as the students? First of all, your views on the expert as an expert.
Sure, sir. So, I think almost everybody brought up this point about teachers, right? That good teachers will automatically encourage the students and they will learn better. But unfortunately, the fact is that we don't have good teachers everywhere. Even in a single school, not all teachers are the same, right? So then what comes next is that how do we empower these teachers, right? How do we bolster their abilities, or how do we give them some tools which can help them do better? It might not turn them entirely into good teachers, but it will definitely turn them into better teachers. Second is on practice, right? Again, a lot of people talked about this. Alka ma'am said practice is important. Rajiv sir said practice karna chahiye. Now, thing is, with practice, what I have observed is that, especially with maths, when it comes to practice, typically what practice really means in the usual classroom is that children are given homework, right? So, and how they are given homework is the teacher picks up the book, says, go to chapter 5, section C, do 5C, exercise, questions 1 to 10, come back tomorrow. Now, two things are happening here. One is that the teacher is not really putting any effort in creating something for the child. Whatever is there in the textbook, they're just dumping it on them. Second thing is, now what is happening is that every child is being made to do the same problem, irrespective of what the child's actual ability or level is. And that also comes back to this point, what Rajiv sir said, that he used to score 20 out of 20. And that's why he got, very confident and he wanted to become a maths teacher and so on. But not every child scores that, right? Why that does not happen is because we expect to measure every child at the same level. Now, when it comes to final exams and board exams and things like that, I can understand that, you want to kind of benchmark everyone at the same level. But when it comes to day-to-day learning, why are we giving the same set of questions to all the children? Whoever is not able to solve the problem, we are saying that solve 10 other problems of the same type. Now, if they are not able to solve one problem, how will they solve 10 other problems of the same type? They will not be able to do that. And then if they're not able to do that, you are repeatedly making them fail rather than repeatedly making them succeed. When you repeatedly make them fail, then you are breaking their confidence. And then you are creating this whole story around maths anxiety, maths phobia. बच्चे को मैथ्स नहीं पढ़ना है भाई, हम ही तो कर रहे हैं. So the point is that when we are creating textbooks, I think that especially the maths textbook is really a teacher's aid and not a child's aid, right? The teacher is supposed to use that and use that content to teach the child, but the child is supposed to go beyond that. And you cannot simply say that do these 10 questions and come back and we hope that you would have learned something out of that. So the point is that when we create practice for children, it needs to be differentiated. It needs to be differentiated to the point where it is based on the child's ability. When we are able to do that, then what will happen is that the child will be able to then become successful, right? If you are giving an easier problem to a child who has got a lower level of ability, then hopefully the child will be able to solve that problem. At least that level of confidence will be built that, yes, I can do something in math. The child will not say that math se to mujhe dar hi lagta hai, right? Maybe they may not be able to score 100 on 100, but at least that confidence will start getting built. And that is most important. It comes back to this thing that, there was one comment which came that not all, I think Monica ma'am said that not all children become something where they would have to use maths in their real life. Now, MF Hussain does not have to use maths in real life. Zakir Hussain does not have to use maths in real life. That's fine. But they still earn money and they have to count money, right? इतना तो math आना चाहिए कि कितना आया पैसा, कितना बचा है, कितना गया है, किसी ने मुझे उल्लू तो नहीं बना दिया. So that at least has to be there. And that can only be there if you are at least confident that I can handle numbers easily. And that confidence has to be built in children. That you can do when you create this kind of a differentiated learning and differentiated practice for them, where you are able to meet their level of learning, right? I think that is very important. The second point about teacher empowerment, I think that comes where...
I just want
yes,
to interrupt, sir. It's not scoring high. What I meant is,
right,
I'm not crazy about that score of mathematics. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm trying to say.
They have to know basics, sir. Yeah.
The children, it does not matter whether they score high or not, right? What they know, they should feel confident about it. They should feel that, yes, I can do this. And they should not feel afraid of that particular topic, right? So that is the point that, when we give that kind of differentiated learning, at least to some extent, they will feel that this is doable. I can do this. And then let them go beyond, right? When you do that, the other thing that will happen is that even the parents will see that the child is succeeding to some extent. This whole thing about parents creating the whole phobia and aura around the topic is very true, right? Parents do that all the time. I have done that myself. So, if we want to avoid that, we also have to show the parents that your child can succeed. When we show that, the parents will start believing that, yes, there is something that my child can do. Then they will start encouraging the child more as well. So that is the way to get the parents also involved in a positive way in this whole process. And then finally comes about the teacher, right? Now, as far as the teacher is concerned, these points came up that the teacher is focused on completing the subject, which is very true, right? The teacher is like an engine. They want to start at one station, end at another station, and it has to reach on time, which means that by the time the year is over, the syllabus has to complete. What they forget is that there are passengers and they have to make sure that every passenger has to reach the station. And sometimes that doesn't happen, right? The children get left behind. So what should really be done is that the teachers should know which children is getting left behind, which station they got off and they have not yet boarded. So, they can kind of pick them up again. So that is what I think that data can do. And that is where technology can play a very, very important role. What we have been able to do with Counting Well, for example, is that we have created an assessment-driven learning platform. So what we do is that we assess the child on how they are solving the problems. And based on that, we give them personalized learning, which is at their level. And then the next set of problems that they get to solve is also at their level rather than at a common standard level. Also, while we do that, now what we did was we kind of packaged everything in a homework module for schools. And we said, teachers, why don't you go and start assigning homework to children on Counting Well? Let them solve the problems. When they solve these problems, we will show you what learning outcomes the children are not achieving. We will not just tell you that they are bad in this topic or they are good in this topic. We will specifically tell you what learning outcomes they are not achieving, which set of children, or what is the maximum number of children who are not achieving a specific learning outcome. So you know where you need to provide the intervention in the classroom, right? Because like Rajiv sir said, that 40 minutes ka class, teacher takes about 25 minutes to teach and another 15 minutes kind of circulating in the classroom. But still, that is not enough to give that one-to-one attention to every child. Now here, if we are able to gather the data and show the teacher that these are very specific gaps that the children have, then the teacher knows what is that one-to-one attention the child needs. At a minimum, the teacher will be able to at least tell the child that this is where your gap is, go take help, right? And in a very good scenario, the teacher will be able to actually sit with that child or a set of children and say that, let us learn this together. This is where we have identified your gaps are. We are not going to say that you do not know algebra. That's a very abstract statement, saying that you do not know algebra. What exactly you do not know algebra? Why you do not know algebra? I mean, one simple thing, I'll just take one more minute. We found is that when it comes to word problems, right? And in 6th grade and above, children start getting word problems, mixing multiple concepts. What we found is that in maths, one of the biggest barrier that starts becoming very visible from 6th grade and above is a language barrier, is not even a maths barrier, right? They get word problems and the children are not able to understand the problem statement. They are not able to figure out what is given in the problem. They are not able to figure out what data points are available. And therefore, they are not able to solve the problems. And they just try to plug in some formula. And, in the textbook, you have a word problem at the end of profit and loss chapter. So they know that this is a profit and loss problem. So we'll do some cost profit, gross profit, something we will try and do, and we will try to solve the problem. Sometimes it works. Sometimes they go halfway and drop it. But in the exams, you don't tell them which chapter this problem is coming from. So they don't even know which concept to apply and how to apply this concept. And that is where I think another very important point which came up, which Alka ma'am brought, is the approach to problem solving. Approach should be to understand the problem first, understand what data is being made available to you, create a strategy to solve a problem, and then try to solve a problem, and not simply jump into solving the problem right from the beginning, right? How do we inculcate that approach right from day one? One, of course, is that the teacher should be doing it. Unfortunately, most of the time, what teacher does is just writes the solution on the blackboard, children copy it. They feel that they have understood, but when you ask them even after 2 days, they have not understood it, right? So instead of that, if we are able to do a kind of, in a sense, you can say a Socratic method, you go back and forth, ask them, what did you understand from this problem? What is the data point given to you? Do you know, is it this data or is it this data? What is the solution, or what are you expected to find from this question, right? And then you ask them, what is the strategy you will employ? Then you ask them to actually do the calculation or the number operation. If we do it that way, then that approach will develop, right? And that is what is most important. I think once we create this kind of an environment where we are giving them that approach, where we are giving the data to teacher to help them identify what the gaps are and help them achieve those learning outcomes, and we create that differentiated learning and differentiated set of problems for children, I think we will have a great learning environment for children.
So one more thing I'd like to ask over here, that there had been a lot of learning gaps, especially during the 2 years of pandemic. The Google Baba had done all the exams on online and everything. Rest of the subjects can be covered and have been covered. But how does apps like Counting Well, they cover up the gap, the 2 years gap, when they were not able to practice mathematics, especially?
So this is not just the pandemic gap, right? Of course, that is a very, very big gap which has been created. But if you see, even after summer vacations, this gap comes. When the children come back after summer, for them, it is like, books jo hamari maths ki books hai, we either give it away to the younger children of, who are coming to that class, or sometimes, we just give it to the Radiwala. But as the books go out, whatever they have learned also gets thrown out. The children think that let's prepare for the next year. But with maths, that's not possible, right? It always builds up. So what we do is that, for example, if we are assessing a child on an 8th grade problem, and if they're not able to solve it, we ask them a related concept in the 7th grade, right? And if they're not able to solve that, we ask them to solve something which is related to that from the earlier grade, and so on, till we identify where they have actually dropped the ball, right? Where they have actually lost that concept, and then start teaching them from that point onwards and then come back. So that way, we identify from which year that deficit has been built up, and we also fill that gap for them.
Okay, that's wonderful. That means if the child is not able to solve a problem of 8th, so he'll be given the problem related to class 7th. If not, then class 6th, until unless you do not come up and clear up the base to that. So two things I've understood from that is the teacher is getting the advantage that the assignments are being made by the app, they are being checked by the app, and at the very same time, teacher says, how do I know that in which particular topic the particular child or all the children they are weak in? So there it gives a report where the children, each child is lacking, on what effort has to be made. Because now here he's saving his time for the assignments as well as for the corrections, and he's getting the feedback. He's able to concentrate more upon their teaching rather than doing the copy correction and making the papers. And at the very same time, children are getting help because they are getting the teacher 24/7. Suppose a child was absent, or suppose the child came into the school and he was not able to ask the question. This is a very big problem. Children, they don't ask questions inside the class. They have a fear that sab mera mazak udaenge. So that way it happens because it's a role of teacher also. When you say, no, you're wrong, at the very same time, the 4 or 5 who are ready to participate, wanted to ask, they will also not ask. So here the child, not one-on-one, even with a mobile, he can sit and he can learn from the app. Because wherever he'll be wrong, I think the app will be teaching, correcting him where you are getting wrong. And
That's
when
correct.
he's coming back,
the app will correct him when where he's wrong. App will teach him. At the same time, the teacher will get the data without the child even telling the teacher that I don't know. The teacher will see the data that the child had made a mistake here. So, the child does not have to come and tell the teacher ki mujhe samajh mein nahi aaya, ma'am. The teacher will still know, and she can still give him that instruction.
okay, that means all the stakeholders, they will get, the report of the child, what are they doing and what they are not doing, where they are right and where they're wrong. The
Yes.
parents also will get that. The admin also will get that. The teachers also get that, as well as the students. But 24/7, when he's, according to his comfort, late night or whatever time he is opening up the app and trying to do mathematics with the app, the next day when he comes up to the class, he's up to the mark of the class. Not only the first row will be answering them, the whole of the class will be answering. That's wonderful, sir. That's wonderful. I've been knowing, there's so many schools which have come up with counting well, and many good, very big brands also, like Gems Education and all, they have started up and they have given such a lot of good comments in their website also about it. Wonderful job you're doing, sir. Thank you so much. We'll come up to the next round and we are in shortage of time. I request all of you, please, to make your answer very precise. That is 60 seconds. Although the topic is very interesting, we can talk throughout the day, but shortage of time is there. And Alka ma'am is in office. She has to go back to home. Please have pity on her. So ma'am, we'll come up to Alka ma'am first to you. And the question is that, according to you, how does technology helps in making maths more interesting and easy?
Actually, if we talk about technology, I'll visualize and talk about the maths lab, what we have. So out there, I see, the technology assists our teachers in construction of the realistic complex problems, in the class setting itself. One is they're doing it. One is, there is a visualization. Like these problems can be modeled if you look at it in the maths lab out here, or otherwise also with the use of technology. I feel that, let's take the example of the 3D applications. 3D applications actually make it so easy for the teachers to manipulate the solid geometrical figures, such as, let's say, cones or the cubes when we're talking about, which actually helps the students understand the concept well. It's all about taking off the fear. The whole conversation, what we are doing today is, why do they fear mathematics and how can we remove it? How can we make them fall in love with mathematics? So technology, I feel, is the right way. Like teaching mathematics with technology actually helps the teacher, or gives her more tools such that her instructions or the teaching becomes more effective. And majorly, if I look at it, the biggest problem in teaching mathematics is the number of abstract concepts. I think all the mathematicians would talk about it. So it's all about visualization. I strongly recommend teachers using, the daily life videos, connecting the concept with the day-to-day life, and must use of the maths lab. I've seen the change. I've seen actually a dramatic change of the attitude or the aptitude of students towards mathematics. So that's where we say that technology is very, very helpful. Thank you.
That's wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so
And
much,
also
ma'am.
would like to add on, like Mr. Nirmal Shah, I was just listening to what he was talking about. It's technology. As a teacher, I think if I have 30 odd students, it's next to impossible for me to understand the learning gap of each child. And when I talk about differentiated learning, so I can do it only, individual attention can be given only with the help of technology. I'm sure Mr. Shah, you would agree to that.
Absolutely, ma'am. It's physically impossible, humanly impossible for the teacher to, do 30 children in 40 minutes in every day.
True. Thank you so much.
That's wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come to Shefali, ma'am. Shefali, ma'am, we will also like to know your views that how does technology helps the students to make it more interesting and easy.
I would be repeating everything that Alka ma'am has said. So actually, it is visualization becomes very, very potential. Like if you use a tool like GeoGebra or something, the whole visualization for the child becomes very easy. Then secondly, we are talking about personalized learning pathways. So mapping them becomes very easy because you know exactly where your one child stands and how you can, work around that particular child to take him to the place where you want it. So personalized learning pathways become very, very easy. Then technology is something which these children can easily connect to. So you can use it as a very good hook. Also, in a flipped classroom environment where, teaching is, the child has the potential to learn it at home at his own pace, and classroom becomes a place where you are having a lot of discussion around what is going wrong, what is not happening, and analyzing whatever they are doing. Then I think we'll be able to have a better, result when it comes to maths. And that love for maths will come automatically because I think borderline of every math or any subject for that, anything that we are learning in life, curiosity is the main factor that drives us to learn something.
Right.
I always feel that teaching is a redundant work. It's, learning that is more important. So until and unless that curiosity is not there, we have lost the child. So before we start teaching anything, it is important that curiosity to learn that thing, relevance of that thing, and that feeling of knowing it more has to be brought into the children. And technology can do it beautifully.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Curiosity is the most important thing which has to be created among the students, and especially by the teachers. Thank you so much, ma'am. So we'll come up to Monica, ma'am now. Monica, ma'am, we would like to know your views on the saying that children try to learn mathematics like other subjects instead of understanding it. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, learning can be defined as ability to memorize certain sets of supposed facts. So when we go to school, we generally learn things. Teachers also go through a outlined curriculum and teach a certain subject by presenting certain data as facts, and then expect the students to memorize these facts, and then they want to get the answers. But understanding anything, on the other hand, was being able to correlate a whole bunch of data in order to come up with a more holistic conclusion. So many times as maths teachers, we want to complete the portion, we want to get good results. Sometimes teachers are sometimes I do not know how about sir. I had sometimes some difficulties to make children understand what the higher mathematics. So
Right.
yeah. So what happens is some things we cannot show them. Even I used to ask a question to my professors in mathematics. We have to imagine certain things. We have to go deeper into that when it comes to mathematics. So what I feel is understanding is very important than just learning. Most of the time we are doing because we want to complete the portion. I'm telling you, we want to complete the portion. Even now we have examinations and 10th, 12th board exams. We will be rushing on the portions. We want a good result for the school. So there is competition there. Whatever may be ultimately result also part of schools. It represents a good school. Right? So in that case, many times we go into this learning level, not understanding level. So
Right, ma'am.
yeah, they're just learning facts and figures, making by heart theorems and all these formulas, but understanding why it is,
Right.
what it is. Like, so that may be going from back to front.
Absolutely
Learning
right,
maybe,
ma'am.
yes, going from front to back, but I think understanding is going from back. I like the deductive method, understanding maybe. Inductive
Right,
method
ma'am.
may be the learning, just learning.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. We wanted to hear much from you, but we are in shortage of time. I'm so sorry. We'll talk about it again when we'll meet. We'll come up to Priyanka Shukla, ma'am. Priyanka, ma'am, we will also like to know from you that it's often seen that children try to learn mathematics instead of understanding it. Your 60 seconds starts now.
Yes, sir. They are learning mathematics because sometimes understanding is lacking. So it's an easy way to learn things. But through learning, they are getting frustrated. So what we can do, it is the duty of the teacher to first discuss the problem, practice it, and then come to the solution. So it should be done in an inclusive way. It should not be done in a one-way process. Like if they are teaching area or any other concepts, they should take the live examples, like in the classroom, this is the length, this is the width, and if it's a 2D two-dimensional, if you're talking about volume, then you will also take the height. So they are able to connect their understanding with the live examples. So in that way we can connect and many other concepts like piggy bank concept, making the grocery lists. You just make the grocery list, whatever the prices are there, just count it and what is the total of that. So in that way we can inculcate these good things. And so learning is not a way where they can do much more in mathematics, while
Right.
understanding, approaching the problem in what way it should be done by the teacher, and it should
Daily
be
life
make it as a
examples.
practice.
Daily life
Yes, sir.
examples should be given to
Yes,
them.
sir. Yes,
That will
sir.
be more
That is
comfortable.
why CBSE is also focusing on FLN, NEP 2020. Yes, sir.
Absolutely
Foundational
right, ma'am.
numeracy is must. Everyone should know this. Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Rajiv sir now. Rajiv sir, we'd like to know your views on the saying, because after pandemic especially, we have come up to blended learning. So blended learning has helped the students to grow in a better way. So what are your views on that, sir?
Sure. Technology has helped us a lot in the last 2 years. Earlier, teaching was by heart, but now it has become a science. Earlier, we said it is by heart, it is an art, but now it has become a science. I appreciate all the manners, all the methods which we use on technology, but still in mathematics, it doesn't work much out. Because in other subjects, actually, I told you in the earlier, mathematics is entirely a different subject. You have all the answers ready with you. You have all the steps on the board, but still you need somebody how the next step comes. That is the problem in mathematics. Here, technology just on the second step, you can say. On the first step, teacher is there. The teacher has to tell the students whatever the problems are actually there and how they have to overcome on that. But blended learning, experiential learning, NEP, all they are talking about the innovation. In what better way can we have with the students? Innovation is the key in the new era, you can say. Earlier, teacher is having the old concepts, they are teaching in that way, but presently in the classroom, they have the different environment. They have to involve the students with us. Blended learning means you can say you're teaching science is there, you can teach social sciences there, but still you can have the thought of mathematics there. Suppose you are having a question in science, whatever the chemicals are used in that way. Suppose you can just add up the sums. Just Priyanka ma'am has said grocery list. You can prepare the whatever the rates are there. You can prepare the total of that. In that way, you can learn adding is there. In simple manner, you can give your child 100 rupees for that. You go to the market, spend it, make a list. How you are spending that? What is the amount to be? Expenditure is there. What is the saving is there? In that way. So it is a blended learning. You can say in the total all subjects we are teaching with that, but mathematics is the part of that. Thank you,
Right.
sir.
Absolutely right, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your precise answer. We'll come up to Nirmal sir. Nirmal sir, we like to know your expert views on the second round. But I'll also like to ask, which ma'am was also saying, Alka ma'am was also saying that we have maths lab and all. So there, the way or the method of teaching is so fine that the students are able to understand that. So we have come up to blended learning also into that. So here the maths lab or something like this is benefited by the teachers to teach. But are all the students benefited? All the 40 out of 40 students are benefited when you come to maths lab. So like we say, and again, the same thing, I want to ask one more thing. If Alka ma'am, suppose principal like Alka ma'am says, okay, when you're going to use this app, the parents are going to say that बहुत मुश्किल से तो हमने mobile छुड़वाया है, and you want to say that the children should use mobile again and again. So how are we going to face, I mean, if we come up with counting well, like people like us or Alka ma'am or Monica ma'am or Priyanka ma'am or Rajiv sir or Shefali ma'am comes up, how we are going to deal with that? कितनी मुश्किल से मोबाइल छुड़ाया, आप छोड़ते नहीं है, आप खींचने के लिए कहते हो, कभी आप कभी कहते हो कि वापस दे दो. So how this scenario is only the maths lab going to help the teachers, or you can understand what my question is.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Sure. So see, I think maths lab, and if it is done right, it's a great way to get the children involved, right? They get very, very involved with each other and with the teacher and with the subject. So without a question, maths lab is a great way to get children excited about the subject. Can we teach everything? Obviously not, right? Because there is only certain things that you can cover in the maths lab one. And secondly, you cannot do the maths lab every day. So they do it maybe once a week or whatever it is. And therefore, there is a limited use of the math lab which happens. So I think that is, it's a kind of balance that has to be created, right? What you teach in the classroom, how much time they spend in the maths lab, plus how well equipped is the maths lab. Not all schools have the ability to equip their math labs with everything, right? Sometimes, there are just cutouts and, they try to do something with paper and origami and things like that, but don't go beyond that. Sometimes there are blocks and shapes and things like that. Sometimes it goes much beyond. So I think that, having a maths lab, great. How well equipped it is important to know. How much time the children spend in the maths lab is also important, right? Now, coming back to this other point, what you said, and this is something which we have encountered as well. Parents are saying that, we just got the phones away from children and now you are asking them to give the phone back. And I would say there are a couple of things, right? First thing is that phone is a very natural thing for children, if you see, right? For them, they pick it up very well. They are able to use that for communication extremely well. They are able to use that for entertainment extremely well. They are able to use that for learning also extremely well. We as parents think that they're wasting their time, but I feel that at some point of time, we should also understand that for us, it does not come very naturally. For them, it does, right? And there is that difference. Second point, definitely, yes, we should put all our efforts to reduce the screen time, right? So one of the things that we did was that we mapped all our learning content to specific learning outcomes throughout the chapter. So basically, on an average, we have about 15 to 20 learning outcomes per chapter. And then the learning content that we have with that in the Counting Well app is only about 5 to 7 minutes worth of content. So what we usually recommend is that, you do about 20 minutes of learning or 20 to 25 minutes. And within that, you will achieve 3 to 4 learning outcomes per day, right? So you do not have to spend hours on the phone. You just need to spend 20-25 minutes, and that will be enough to learn incrementally. So that is one of the ways we are tackling this problem of screen time. The other thing is also, we created something called an e-workbook. And I don't know if I can show you this, if you can see this, but we created a physical book where we actually let the children solve problems in the book and scan the answers in the Counting Well app. And when they scan these answers, then what will happen is the app will take over. It will do the analysis of their answers. So the same learning gaps, we'll be able to list those learning gaps, provide that data to the teachers. At the same time, show the child the personalized learning plan on the app so they can continue on the app. So now we're kind of bringing that physical element as well, so the parents can see that the child is doing something, at home, or they can do it in the classroom as well. They do it on the book, so the parents are actually seeing something happen. ऐसा नहीं है कि बच्चा कोने में बैठ के, they're just doing something on the phone. Parents don't even know what is happening, right? So that way, we kind of give the parents the confidence that some actual learning and actual activity is happening. The child is not wasting his time. So these are the ways we are helping, basically we are helping the teachers overcome this objection from the parents that don't give the phone to the children, right? That's what we are trying to do.
So that the most important thing is, out of all the discussion, is that the confidence has to be created among the students that maths is a very, very good subject. And whatever we need, because teacher role will never be removed, technology will always be a tool for the teachers and for the students. Because when we are going up to the maths lab, maximum children are benefited, but not all of them. The rest must be taken over by the apps also, in this way or that way. Each and every child, as we say, is a unique. And because they are unique, parents are coming to us, my child is not very good at studies. So we ask them, is he weak at mobile? No. Usme to bahut acha hai, he's very good in that. So that means the child does not have interest in studies or a particular subject. That interest or confidence has to be created. But a wonderful thing you have created, sir, and a lot of help is being taken by the teachers and the students. And a lot of progress I have seen in the schools. They are getting from the Counting Well app. Thank you and all the best to you, sir, for creating such a wonderful thing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nirmal, sir. Coming up to the last 5 to 10 minutes of the session, which we have a culture of the show is, that is me time. And every person present over here has to sing 2 lines. And because Rajiv sir has never come over here and Priyanka ma'am is a newcomer, so the newcomers will sing the first, and we'll part because ma'am also is not well. Elka ma'am, she also has to go back to home. Thank you so much, Elka ma'am. You have given us such a time and of your busy schedule. Thank you so much. राजीव सर, ओवर टू यू सर. सर कुछ 2 लाइनें सुना दीजिए सर, ये मी टाइम है अभी. कुछ गाने की आपका जो मनपसंद गाना है, समथिंग लाइक दैट, जो भी आपका मनपसंद है. I can understand from your face reading that you are a very good singer.
Oh, actually, mathematics teachers are having a society image of very harsh, you can say very cruel, you can say.
ऐसा नहीं है सर. हमारा सब्जेक्ट भी अकाउंट्स रहा है, बहुत अच्छा रहा है. It had been very good. We had a very good, journey as a PGTs. Wonderful teachers also we had like you in the society. We have like you, those who have created a difference among the students. And basically the principles are PGT English. Alka ma'am, your subject had been English if I'm not wrong.
I'm an economics PGT.
Oh my God, you are my companion, ma'am. So we are from commerce. That's wonderful. After a long time, I got someone from my stream. Okay. Monica ma'am, your subject. Monica ma'am, your subject.
Physics.
Physics. Oh my, very good. Yeah. Achha, today we can see we are from the different parts of the country. Monica ma'am is from Tamil Nadu. Alka ma'am is from Haryana. Nirmal sir is from Karnataka, that is Bangalore. And 2 people, Rajiv sir and Priyanka ma'am from Uttar Pradesh. So we have different people from different parts of the country today again. And it's wonderful knowing. So Rajiv sir, आपकी 2 लाइनें रहेगी sir.
वही मैं कह रहा था कि mathematics has the face as a harsh and cruel word.
But you're not like
see
that,
you
sir.
on that way. So always I used to say with my students कि पत्थर मुझे कहता है मेरा चाहने वाला, मैं मोम हूँ उसने मुझे छूकर नहीं देखा.
सर ये तो शायरी हुई सर, एक गाना भी 2 लाइनें सुना दीजिए सर.
Bas, that's our next time, sir. Next time.
Sure sir. Priyanka ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Priyanka ma'am, over to you.
Yes, sir.
कुछ सुना दीजिए मैम 2 लाइनें.
But sir, I'm not a very good singer.
नहीं, nobody is a good singer here ma'am, don't take it otherwise. कोई भी मारेगा नहीं किसी को क्योंकि हम स्क्रीन पे हैं सर.
तूने ओ रंगीले कैसा जादू किया, पिया पिया बोले मत वाला जिया. तूने ओ रंगीले कैसा जादू किया, पिया पिया बोले मत वाला जिया. आंखों में छुपा के ये क्या किया, ओ रे पिया ओ तूने ओ रंगीले कैसा जादू किया. Thank you, sir.
Wonderful ma'am, very good. Shefali ma'am, your turn ma'am.
I would like to excuse myself. That's one thing in life I can't do. You can make me climb a mountain, but not sing a song.
Ma'am, principals are genies. They can do anything. They what can I do for you? English में होगा ना क्या हुक्म है मेरे आका? What can I do for you? Always a smiling face we have.
Okay, let me think of something I can hum. And then
Sure. By that time, Monica ma'am, something you can sing in traditional Tamil or something.
I'm a Konkani, Konkana. Maybe I'll sing a Konkani song.
Sure, ma'am.
My mother tongue is Konkani. It's an old song.
Although there was
Basically,
network
Konkani
problem,
is
ma'am,
a
but you have a very
state
wonderful
language
voice,
of
ma'am. There was a
Goan
network problem.
language, sir. Yeah.
We weren't able to hear you very properly, but whatever we heard, your voice is very good, ma'am. You are a great singer. Great singer. Shefali, ma'am.
I will sing my favorite song. I will not sing it, but I will just try to word it out. Probably it will sound musical. Probably I'm off note completely, but then. दूर कहीं सब दिन ढल जाए, सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए, चुपके से आए. Thank you.
That's wonderful, ma'am. You also have a wonderful voice. I'm talking to Indian Idol people to start up a season with the Educationist. Okay, or Monica ma'am has a very good voice, although we were not able to listen to her very properly, but she had a very nice voice. She is going to the finals so directly. Shefali ma'am, you're also going to the quarterfinals. And you see the showstopper Alka ma'am, her voice. Just see that she'll also be going to the final. Ma'am, you are Alka ma'am. Bluebell School, ma'am. Gurgaon.
Yes, sir.
You can do anything, ma'am.
Like being a Fauji's daughter, wife, so just 2 lines, no singing at all. And something which, to be very frank, I just looked at my phone. I said, before sir catches me, let me dig out something. So something which is very close to my heart. मैं अपनी देश धरती का अमित सम्मान करती हूँ, इसकी चांदनी मिट्टी का ही गुणगान करती हूँ. नहीं है चाह मुझे स्वर्ग जाकर मोक्ष पाने की, तिरंगा हो कफन मेरा यही अरमान करती हूँ. जय हिंद.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm having goosebumps right now. Such a wonderful thoughts you have just read, ma'am. Thank you so much. All of you, especially Alka ma'am, you are not well, then too you're staying at school and giving us time. Thank you so much. Had a wonder. Yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
also in school.
Alka ma'am, it's great meeting you in person. I've heard such lovely things about you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Alka ma'am. Thank you, Rajiv sir. Thank you, Shefali ma'am, Priyanka ma'am, Nirmal sir, Monica ma'am. I hope you had a wonderful time. Hope to you in another seasons, another session very soon. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.